Good evening. Thanks for tuning in. I'm Gadi Schwartz, coming to you from Los Angeles. And here are the stories we're watching tonight. The Supreme Court steps in to save access to a key abortion pill, at least for now. And the person accused of leaking those classified documents has been charged under the Espionage Act. And now the Pentagon is looking into how he got his hands on those top secret files that were leaked on a video game chat room. Then fires in the streets of Paris today. All of that after President Emmanuel Macron's plan to raise the retirement age gets approved by a French court. And the U.S. government hits 4 of El Chapo's sons with drugs, weapons, and money laundering charges. Plus, Mike Pence gets booed at the NRA convention in his home state of Indiana. And a Maine lobsterman gets quite a surprise in one of his traps. Spoiler alert, it is a 150-pound missile. And the 21-year-old Massachusetts Air National Guardsman arrested for leaking classified documents made his first court appearance earlier today. Now, we brought you those images of Jack Tersh's arrest from his Massachusetts home yesterday. Today, he was read charges from the Espionage Act. And that included possessing classified national security documents and possessing national defense materials. Both of those charges carry a maximum sentence of 10 years. Now, family members of Teixeira were in court today trying to comfort each other while the charges were being read. That's them right there. Authorities say Teixeira posted hundreds of classified documents on the online gaming server Discord over the last few months. And the documents ranged from sensitive information about the war in Ukraine, about Russia tactics in the war, about Iran, Nicaragua, and more. NBC News correspondent Ron Allen joins us now. Ron, what happened in that courtroom?
Very brief hearing, Gadi, where the judge told Teixeira what the charges were that he was facing, basically violating the nation's espionage laws and putting the nation's security at risk for removing and retaining and mostly for transmitting these very secretive documents to some associates, friends, other gamers in this private chat room. And of course, we know that that information became more public, and that's what sort of blew the lid off things, if you will. It was a very brief hearing, and it was always striking to see who this individual is who's behind such a massive crime allegation. And the striking thing about him is that he's a very ordinary-looking 21-year-old guy who's been in the military for all of 2 years. There's been a lot of questions about how someone so young, so relatively inexperienced, could have access to the nation's secrets, especially what appears to be real-time information about things like the war in Ukraine and America's relationship with Russia. So again, a very brief hearing. His family was present. A number of people who sat in the front row. They made eye contact on occasion, but Teixeira was handcuffed. He came in a prison jumpsuit, said very little, just acknowledging to the judge that, yes, I understand what you're saying. And then this moved on. There's a detention hearing next week, Wednesday, when the issue of bail will come up, and then the case proceeds.
Ron, I guess the question that so many of us are wondering is, do we hear anything about why he did it? Was this something, was he just looking for clout? Was he trying to win an argument with his friends? Or is this like next level espionage? What does it look like was going on?
Well, there's no indication that he was working for a foreign government. There's no indication that he had an axe to grind politically. There's no indication that he was trying to make a big point about anything, which is what happens in many of these high-profile leak cases. One clue came from another member of this gaming group who the FBI contacted only 3 or 4 days ago. This case came together very quickly in the last 48, 72 hours or so, and there was evidence, the investigators said there's evidence that this whole process started back in December when Teixeira started sharing these documents with these other individuals online. But one of the individuals who the FBI was able to reach said that it was his understanding that Teixeira was trying to show off, essentially, that that they were having discussions about geopolitics, about historic wars and current wars. There was no indication of anything really terrible happening, but of course that's what you might expect someone to say who's being questioned by the FBI about something like this. We really don't know why he did it, and we may not know why he did it, but that's the big question. And at this point, again, it's a very unusual leak espionage case because it doesn't have the hallmarks of what we're used to hearing or what's so often heard in these kind of matters.
A bizarre case with massive, massive implications. Thanks, Ron. And we're going to get into the national security implications around this case a little bit later this hour with an expert. So stick around. Ron Allen, thanks so much. Meanwhile, at the Supreme Court, a big pause handed down in the Texas abortion ruling that would have prevented people from getting the abortion pill mifepristone by mail, with a more permanent decision expected down the road. Now, Justice Alito issued that order after pressure from the Justice Department. That hold will last until Wednesday. After that, we're not really sure what will happen. But for now, this means that women can still get the pill by mail if they need it for the next 5 days. Meanwhile, protests continue.
How many more times and in how many more ways do the American people have to tell you that we support abortion rights? We will be here to demand our equality, our freedom, until it is undeniable. We will be here every time they question our rights and our ability to make the most important decisions of our lives.
And MSNBC legal analyst Cynthia Oxney joins us now. Cynthia, what does a pause mean here? Is that something that we should be reading into on which way this should go? Or is this just a pause to give them more time to consider?
It's really just a pause. You know, Justice Alito is the one who put this stay in effect for 5 days. Don't think because he put a stay in effect that he's suddenly becoming an abortion rights supporter. I mean, he may very well vote very differently when it comes to making the decision. So all this does is we're going to wait 5 days, and the plaintiffs are going to have a chance to submit briefs as well. The Department of Justice has submitted briefs. The drug manufacturer has submitted briefs, and we'll have a chance to hear from the plaintiffs in this case who have some substantive issues that they're going to have to defend in front of the Supreme Court. And that will happen, and then we'll get some kind of temporary ruling on Wednesday.
So for anybody that's looking for the drug over the next few days, the law says that they can still get it by mail. Is that right?
Right. Absolutely. They can get it by mail through Wednesday night, and then we'll see. And then the Supreme Court can do several things. They can decide to take the case on an emergency basis and put a stay in order. They can decide they're going to put a stay in order and send it back to the Fifth Circuit. They can decide to deny it and send it to the Fifth Circuit. So there's lots of different options on what may happen, and we're just going to have to stay tuned.
Cynthia, thanks so much.
Thank you.
Fentanyl, kidnappings, torture, even the use of tigers to eat their victims. Today, the U.S. Attorney General announced that they are cracking down on major players in the world of Mexican drug cartels, including some of the children of the Mexican drug kingpin El Chapo Guzman. Now, the U.S. indicted 28 Mexican cartel members, including 4 of El Chapo's sons, known as the Chapitos, and it is part of a crackdown on the trafficking of fentanyl.
As described in the indictment, the Chapitos' security forces attack law enforcement, intimidate civilians, destroy unsupportive businesses, and capture contested territory. They often torture and kill their victims. They have fed some of their victims, dead and alive, to tigers belonging to the Chapitos.
Joining us now is NBC's Homeland Security correspondent Julia Ainsley. Julia, this seems so massive. It also seems like a lot of it is going to rely on the help of Mexican officials, and a lot of it is going to happen in Mexico. What's Mexico getting in return?
Yeah, that's key here. Well, one of the sticking points was, we know from these negotiations, is that Mexico says, look, we understand fentanyl that's manufactured here is killing a lot of Americans, but a lot of American guns that are illegally crossing southbound into Mexico are killing Mexicans. So they want the U.S. and the ATF, or Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms, to do more about tracking those illegal guns. So in a bit of a quid pro quo, both sides have agreed to try to do more to track both fentanyl going northbound and guns coming southbound. But, Gadi, I mean, let's just take a moment to listen to how horrific some of those details were that we learned about today. These cartels are not only funneling drugs that are killing Americans, they're also carrying out a campaign of violence across Mexico. And it actually puts Mexican officials in a bit of a bind because they want to go after these members just like the U.S. does in order to gain control there. But at the same time, those are such powerful cartels. Oftentimes they can corrupt the very law enforcement bodies that Mexico would use to go after them. So it's a tough position. And I'll point out 3 out of the 4 of the Chapitos are still at large, even though they were indicted today. So it's going to take a lot more cooperation and progress from both countries as they go after that group and go after this broader problem of fentanyl.
And just last month, we heard Mexican President Obrador say fentanyl was an American problem. What's changed since then?
Yeah, that's right. He really threw up his hands. Now, that was a tough time. It was when the U.S. sent a delegation down to Mexico, and the meeting did not go well. They were supposed to be talking about fentanyl, but it was at that time, if you could remember, those 4 Americans had been kidnapped when they were on their way into Mexico, rather, for plastic surgery. And there was a lot of condemnation, particularly from U.S. Republicans, saying that Mexico needed to go after these groups that they were basically saying should be labeled foreign terrorist organizations. So that was his anger walking into that moment. Those negotiations dissolved, as we understand it. But in the background, as usually happens, there are some people, some lower down people, both in our government and in their government, some officials who have met recently. In fact, as recently as yesterday, those Mexican officials came to the U.S., met with the Biden administration. But this has been a long deal in the making. It's actually something we've been previewing here on NBC News, that Mexico has said, yes, we want to do more to go after these cartels. They're getting so powerful, especially as they produce more and more fentanyl. We need your help more on the gun trafficking. So we'll see. The proof will be in the pudding. Can these 2 countries really make real progress on this incredibly big issue that is causing so much bloodshed and lives lost for both countries?
A long deal in the making and a long battle ahead. Julia Ainsley, thanks so much. And tonight, that toxic fire at an Indiana plastics plant is finally under control. That fire had been burning since Tuesday, but that doesn't mean the threat is over. An evacuation order is still in place while officials test for cancer-causing chemicals in the area.
I don't want to frighten anybody, but this was a plastics fire. Once all of the air sampling and water sampling are in and analyzed, we will give a realistic what you have been exposed to and what those risks are.
NBC's Jesse Kirsch is on the ground in Richmond, Indiana, with the latest.
Earlier today, here at the county fairgrounds, officials held a press update on the situation in Richmond, Indiana. Here's what we know. Officials saying that the fire is under control, but that they are still encountering flare-ups. That is something they continue to be dealing with as they are trying to focus on air and water testing to know when they can lift the evacuation order for the half-mile radius around Ground Zero. Officials say that at the earliest, we're not going to know if the evacuation order can be lifted until tomorrow, when a meeting is held where officials will be going over data. Public health officials say that there have been no increases reported in fire-related illnesses at doctors' offices and the hospital in this community. All of this unfolding as there continue to be questions as to who may be responsible for this fire. The officials at this press conference say that a private business was operating at this facility on the day of the fire. However, the fire broke out at a property that includes property now owned by the city of Richmond. The mayor, though, doubling down on his claim that the business owner who had occupied the site for years is responsible, not the city. And again, we'll be looking to see if that evacuation order is possibly lifted tomorrow. But for now, people are still being told to stay away from the half-mile radius and inward around Ground Zero. Back to you.
Jesse Kirsch, thanks so much. And still ahead this hour, a man with schizophrenia, apparently left malnourished for weeks, died in his jail cell. We have the horrific details in the lawsuit his family just filed. Plus, France is one step closer to raising the retirement age, and the road to that decision has left France in chaos. And time to take a look around the world in 80 seconds. Today in Spain, a woman came out into the sunlight after spending, get this, 500 days living alone underground in a cave. The 50-year-old endurance athlete says it was part of an experiment to study the effects of isolation on the human body. And she says for her, it's still November 2021, which is when she started that challenge. And China now says it won't sell weapons to either side in the war in Ukraine. And China's foreign minister made the announcement earlier today. Now, the decision comes after concern from Western countries that China could provide military assistance to Russia. And today was President Biden's final day in Ireland, which turns out included a chance encounter with the Catholic priest who gave the last rites to his son, Beau, who died of brain cancer in 2015. Biden nor his team were expecting to see the Reverend there, so it made for quite an emotional moment. And hundreds of thousands of Muslims prayed at the Temple Mount compound in Jerusalem on this last Friday of Ramadan. That's with the overlap of Passover and Ramadan, and officials feared that there would be clashes between security forces and worshipers, but local reports say so far no major issues. And today, a French court approved President Macron's plans to increase the national retirement age from 62 to 64, and that is a decision that has outraged millions. The new pension reforms are supposed to be France's way of balancing the books, but roughly 60% of people there disagree with it. And that's why we've seen major protests for months now. And despite today's decision, the labor unions say they are not done. They have planned a huge demonstration that's set to take place on May 1st, or International Workers' Day. NBC's Ali Arouzi has more.
So that crucial court decision on pension reforms here in France has come through, and the Constitutional Committee, made up of 9 sages, agree with President Macron that it is illegal to change the retirement age in this country from 62 to 64. And that is the final decision with that committee. There are no appeals after that. They ruled that, some of the reforms didn't meet legal requirements, but the flagship measure of that bill to move the age of retirement up to 64 was pushed through, and it's not a popular bill at all here in this country. This might be a big victory for President Macron, but it hasn't proved popular for him. He's 19 percentage points down from this time last year. And the mood here is slightly somber. People are very upset about this, but they were expecting this to come. What was unexpected was how relatively quiet Paris stayed tonight. The general mood and the atmosphere was one of expectation that this place may erupt when that decision happens, but it simply didn't happen. We were outside City Hall this morning. There were about 1,000 people outside there waiting for the decision. Once that decision came through, there wasn't much of a protest. They just fizzled out and went away. Now, there's still one more stage of this left to come. There has been a motion tabled by the left wing for a referendum on this issue, and that committee will decide whether a referendum can be held or not on the 3rd of May, but it's highly unlikely they're going to allow that to happen now that the tone has been set with that ruling. But here in France, the Labour parties, the unions, are not happy about this. They said they are not going to rest until they get their way. They are calling for a big demonstration again on the 1st of May, which is Labor Day. They've asked for all the workers, students, and young people to come out into the country and show their disapproval for this. But the momentum seems to be getting less and less on this. In March, there were 1.3 million people out on the streets here. This time around, there were hundreds of thousands. The expectation is that maybe on Labor Day, many people will come out, but beyond that, they're going to resign themselves to the fact that this is now law.
NBC's Ali Arouzi, thanks so much. A man with schizophrenia died naked, malnourished, and locked in a windowless jail cell. And this is according to a federal lawsuit filed this week in Indiana. We're going to warn you now. The video you're about to see, given to us by his attorneys, is disturbing. Now, in July of 2021, 29-year-old Joshua McLemore was taken to a hospital. About an hour later, he was arrested for pulling a nurse's hair. Then immediately he was put into an isolation cell. And according to the lawsuit, he spent almost every second of the next 3 weeks in this continuously lit cell. Now, the lawsuit alleges McLemore was in a state of psychosis, that he was malnourished, dehydrated, and that he didn't sleep. Macklemore lost about 45 pounds in 3 weeks. And the lawsuit says by the time jail staff took him to the hospital to get checked out, it was too late. NBC's Aaron Gilchrist is following this. Can you fill us in here? Aaron, who was Joshua Macklemore?
You know, it's so hard to watch that video, and there are hours and hours of video of him in that padded white room. Gadi, the official autopsy says that Macklemore died of multiple organ failure that was caused by not eating and not drinking, which was also caused by an untreated condition of schizophrenia in his case. Now, the lawsuit here says that jail officials for those 20 days that he was in that cell really failed to provide adequate treatment for Macklemore, that he showed obvious signs of mental illness as he sat there naked, again, barely eating in that state of psychosis for 24 hours a day, 7 days a week in solitary confinement. The court filing includes several videos. You saw some of it there, images as well, in which you can see Macklemore's deterioration over those 20 days as he paced in the room, rolled on the floor in that padded cell, surrounded by trash and his own waste in some cases, the suit says. This complaint also says that the jailers showed deliberate indifference toward Macklemore's well-being, and that, the suit says, ultimately led to his death.
What's the family asking for here?
So in this case, the lawyers say that Macklemore's constitutional rights were violated. They say that that he died because of systemic failures in the jail system there in Jackson County, Indiana, in multiple levels of leadership there. I did speak to one of the lawyers behind this suit earlier today about what outcome he wants to see from this lawsuit.
We want the public, and specifically the Jackson County and the private jail health care provider that was responsible for the health care there, we want them to open their eyes and take notice, see what needs to be done to prevent this from happening to other people.
Now, this lawsuit does ask for damages, Gadi, monetary payment to the estate of Josh Macklemore. But as you just heard the attorney say, more important, they think, is they want there to be some real changes in the way the jail system operates in Jackson County.
Meanwhile, as I understand it, the Jackson County prosecutor did their own investigation. They said that there's no crime to be charged. Is that right?
Yeah, there was a 9-month-long investigation conducted by the Indiana State Police, and at the end of that investigation, the prosecutor said they looked over the evidence there and they set the goal of sort of determining whether there had been a criminal homicide in this death case. And the prosecutor found last year that there was no evidence that Macklemore was knowingly or intentionally killed by another person, or that his death was caused by a knowing, intentional, or reckless act there. He did say, though, that Macklemore most likely died due to prolonged lack of attention by the jail staff as a group. And so now we have this lawsuit, Gadi. We should mention that we did reach out to the sheriff's office today for comment about this lawsuit, and they did not get back to us with a comment.
Such a disturbing case. Aaron Gilchrist, thanks so much. And coming up, new details tonight on the murder of the Cash App founder. Court documents are piecing together the timeline leading up to that fatal stabbing. But first, we want to show you this. A Maine lobsterman was out checking his traps when he discovered this. That is a 5-foot missile. Now, the captain decided it was definitely big enough that he wasn't going to throw it back. Police couldn't confirm if the rocket was still explosive, so bomb technicians went ahead and safely blew it up. We'll be right back. Thanks for joining us. Let's get you caught up in 30 seconds here. The Supreme Court has temporarily paused a Texas ruling that would have prevented people from getting an abortion pill. And the Justice Department indicted 28 Mexican cartel members, including 4 of El Chapo's sons. The DEA is targeting Mexican drug trafficking organizations in a fentanyl crackdown. And an Air National Guardsman is detained on charges of leaking classified documents. Jack Teixeira has been charged with possessing national defense materials. And let's stay on the topic of the arrest of Teixeira. This shocking leak of classified documents, some of which are not even 40 days old, is raising a lot of questions about accountability regarding sensitive material. We know he had an active top secret clearance, but to have access to documents of such national security importance, Attorney General Merrick Garland saying earlier today that the Department of Defense is reviewing procedures as a part of this whole investigation.
Department of Defense is leading an important effort now to evaluate and review the national security implications, and most important, to conduct a review of the methods of access, accountability, and control procedures that the department has, so that something like this can never happen again.
And joining us now is the founder and executive director of the National Security Institute, Jamil Jaffer. Jamil, I've looked at a lot of these documents, and some of them are not that surprising. Some of them are pretty eyebrow-raising, but a lot of it is what you would expect our Department of Defense to be doing. So, for you, what is the most shocking part of these documents, and what's the most egregious thing that jumps out in your opinion?
Well, look, I think obviously the level of detail and the recency of these documents, the fact that some of these came out as recently as March of this year, I think is what's most concerning. Obviously details about what we know or what we don't know, what we think we know about the Ukrainians' capability when it comes to air defenses, us surveilling our allies, which we do all the time and should not come as a surprise to anybody, but the details of the conversations that they're having and that being outed to their publics. And all these things, I think, are very damaging to U.S. national security. I mean, here you have Jack Teixeira, a 21-year-old airman who was disclosing these documents to a group of young men on Twitter, on Discord, that he was trying to sort of recruit and make sort of followers of his by demonstrating his bona fides and, demonstrating that he has capability and access to this type of information. Obviously, a deeply troubling reason and situation that he got himself into. And, there were Russian and Ukrainian nationals that he knew about in that room. So he knew not only was he giving it to Americans who didn't have access, but to foreigners as well.
Wow. So you're thinking that this whole thing was like he's trying to gain clout and just win arguments in a Discord server fight over, I don't know, geopolitics and Minecraft?
Gadi, that's at least what the newspaper reports, the New York Times and the Washington Post seem to be suggesting based on the conversations they've had with other people in the Discord group. Now, obviously, those folks have their own agenda and maybe trying to discount their own involvement in this effort. So it may be that the real story that comes out at trial may be different. But from what we know so far, it certainly seems that way. It wouldn't be the first time that an individual has given information out because of their ego. We see that happen all the time with leaks to newspapers. We also see it happen all the time, sometimes with intelligence assets. Robert Hansen, for example, FBI agent who gave a tremendous amount of classified information to the Russians, did it primarily not because he needed money or had an ideological commonality with the Russians, but because he wanted to demonstrate he was smarter than everybody else.
Huh. What kind of questions does this raise about the checks and balances when it comes to top secret documents?
Well, this is a tough one, Gadi, because, early back in the days, we used to have a need to know system where you only got access to information that you absolutely demonstrated a need to know. After the 9/11 attacks and our realization that our own intelligence community didn't share information effectively, we moved to more of a need to share mentality. And so while we still have need to know requirements, there's also an important need to share information broadly so people have the access they need and can identify the information they need. Well, you might say to yourself, all right, I get that need to share, but why would a 21-year-old airman who is a cyber transport systems engineer, what does he need access for? And the reason is he worked at the 102nd Intelligence Wing. They're responsible for putting together binders of information for senior defense officials, and he handled the IT on those classified systems that carry that information. So he needed that kind of access. Now the question becomes, what did he do with that? And we know what happened, and that's really the challenge, if in fact all of this is proven true at trial.
Jamil Jaffer, founder and executive director of the National Security Institute, thanks so much for being with us tonight.
Thanks for having me.
And today we are learning some pretty crazy new details about the murder of tech executive Bob Lee, who was stabbed to death last week in San Francisco. Apparently, the alleged killer, Nima Momeni, knew Lee, and they had been out together that night, along with Momeni's sister, who sent this text to Lee after the two men got into some sort of argument. Just wanted to make sure you're doing okay, because I know Nima came down way hard on you, Nima being her brother, who is now facing murder charges. This is all according to freshly unsealed court documents first obtained by NBC News today. Joining us now is NBC's Nyala Charles. Nyala, there is so much to unpack today. Let's start with what we learned about the night of the murder and Nima Momeni's sister. Can you explain a little bit more about what kind of role his sister plays in this?
Right. So according to the court documents, Nima Momeni confronted Bob Lee the night he was stabbed about his sister, his younger sister, Kazar Momeni. And there that night, what it said is that Lee went to a gathering at an apartment that Kazar attended. And then from there, at a different location at a hotel, a witness saw Nima confront Bob Lee, asking him about his sister, asking if she had done any drugs or did anything inappropriate, to which Bob Lee responded no. From there, the court documents say Nima drove Bob Lee to a secluded area and then stabbed him and drove off. And the court documents say that there is actually video surveillance footage of that. Also, Gadi, the dailymail.com actually obtained video of moments after that stabbing. We want to pull it up for you so you can take a look there. It shows Lee, after he was stabbed, trying to flag down a car for help. Car doesn't stop, and then he's seen outside of a condo. Now, police say they found Bob Lee alone, bleeding on a sidewalk in San Francisco.
I've also read that there was a text message from the sister to Lee after his death, or possibly right when all of this was happening, correct?
Right. So let's take a look at that, because it's interesting. So she says, just wanted to make sure you're doing okay, because I know Nima came way down hard on you, and thank you for being such a classy man, handling it with class, ending it with love you, selfish pricks.
And this was around that same time? I mean, the timestamps match up to either when he's stabbed and dying or after the confrontation, right?
Right. And what's interesting is, what is selfish pricks, right? Is that a nickname that she possibly has for Bob Lee? So that's what we want to know going forth, because this document gives bits and pieces of their different interactions, but doesn't necessarily lay out an entire timeline or say for certain the depth of their relationship.
And what happens next in the court case here?
So the arraignment for Nima was pushed for 2 weeks from now. It was supposed to happen today, but interesting because in court today, prior to the arraignment being pushed, his sister did come to court with her husband. And that's something the court documents discuss as well, that there's possibly marriage issues there between her and her husband. So that's something that's a big question going forward when you talk about possible motive, because Gadi, the question obviously is, if prosecutors are arguing that this was blatantly planned by Nima, then what do they think made him so mad to get to this point?
Nayela, so many layers to this story. Thanks so much for being here. And some breaking news to get to tonight. An officer-involved shooting in Farmington, New Mexico that happened last week. Police have released body cam footage from the moments that led to the shooting of a man after officers approached the wrong home. Now, here's how it started. On April 5th, 3 officers showed up at Robert Dotson's doorstep. They thought they were responding to a domestic violence call, but they went to the wrong house. Police say that 52-year-old Mr. Dotson opened the door with a firearm, which resulted in a shootout and his untimely death. Now, Farmington police have redacted identities from the body cam footage they released tonight. We're playing it for you right now, once at normal speed, once slowed down, but a warning, the footage you're about to see might be difficult to watch.
Don't tell me I'm wrong. Hey. Shots fired, shots fired!
Now, all of the officers involved have been put under paid administrative leave as they undergo an investigation. In response to the shooting, Farmington's police chief said, quote, Mr. Dotson was not the subject of the call that our officers were responding to, and this ending is just unbelievably tragic. I am extremely sorry that we are in this position. And heading now to Indianapolis, where the NRA is holding its annual convention today, a number of the Republican hopefuls eyeing the White House made an appearance. Let's take a listen.
And I promise you this, with me at 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue, no one will lay a finger on your firearms, just as took place for 4 years when I was your president.
Let me make you a promise. As long as there is breath in my lungs, I will stand with you to ensure that the right to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed.
Know that you've always got a friend in me, you've always got a partner in me as they try and take away any of our constitutional rights.
And joining us now from Indianapolis is NBC News correspondent Vaughn Hilliard. Vaughn, so both former president and former vice president Pence were speaking in person today. What kind of reception did they receive? And also, I got to ask, was it at all awkward with everything going on right now?
It was stark. And let's just start from this reality, Gadi. This is the first time that Donald Trump and Mike Pence have been at the same event since they left Washington, D.C. more than 2 years ago. Now, I'm told the two men did not actually cross paths, despite speaking about 1 hour apart from each other and both being here in Indianapolis. But Donald Trump was received with standing ovations and roars from the crowd. Mike Pence, on the other hand, here in his home state of Indiana, take a listen.
Well, hello, NRA. I love you too.
Now, Gadi, wow. I can't say that I'd get much different of a response than Mike Pence, but he is the former vice president, and he's looking at mounting a presidential run against the likes of Donald Trump here in 2024. There's a reason that you see those Republican candidates coming here, because this is a big constituency, the gun rights voting Republican electorate, and that's the group that they were trying to win over today.
And Vaughn, in light of two recent shootings and considering that mass shootings are something that we continue to see frequently, was there any indication among any of the speakers that they're maybe open to compromise on gun control or gun safety measures?
You know, Gadi, we heard very similar messages from these Republicans that we have from previous years. In 2018, the NRA convention that gathered after the Parkland shooting. And just last year, the NRA convention was held just 3 days after the Uvalde shooting. And what we heard today was no mention of increasing the age in which somebody can buy a semi-automatic weapon. There was no mention of expanding background checks. There was no mention of other reform measures that have been proposed markedly by most Democrats, but some Republicans. And instead, you heard these Republicans focus on mental health care resources and law enforcement resources, especially at schools. That is a message we have heard from them in previous years, and that's a message that we heard yet again here today in light of the Nashville shooting 2 weeks ago and the Louisville shooting just earlier this week.
NBC's Vaughn Hilliard, thanks so much. All right, if you're in the part of the country where it's like 80 degrees, just know that us here in normally sunny California are very, very jealous. And get this, right now, about 113 million Americans saw record temperatures today, about 15 degrees higher than average. And a lot of people were taking full advantage of that summer-like weather. You can see there tons of people out and about in New York City's Central Park, but not everyone is so lucky. Over in Fort Lauderdale, Florida, the airport is finally open again after that torrential downpour earlier this week, but a lot of streets there still look like rivers, and we're not done with the severe weather just yet. Joining us now is NBC meteorologist Bill Cairns. Bill, we've been keeping an eye on severe weather out in the Great Plains right now, right?
Yeah, we're kind of back to typical concerns that we have in April. Usually severe weather, that's usually the big story. Occasionally some flash flooding and river flooding too. But this weekend's going to be all about severe weather and finally cooling off some of those exceptionally hot temperatures. So we do have a severe thunderstorm watch that goes from Omaha to Lincoln to Manhattan, Kansas, down through central Kansas to Wichita, a little sliver here of Oklahoma. Not so concerned with tornadoes to this right now. Mostly going to be some large hail, maybe some damaging wind. And the severe threat actually grows. This storm will get a little bit stronger on Saturday afternoon and evening. This area from central Missouri through Little Rock all the way down to northern Louisiana, it's an enhanced risk of severe storms. So that's one category up from the slight risk in the yellow. Again, this could be some huge hailstorms. This is the time of year you can get some of those, baseball, maybe even softball size hail. And they can do a lot of damage, especially to some early crops and, of course, to cars and roofs and things like that, too. So we'll watch this tomorrow afternoon and tomorrow evening. And here's the area greatest risk of 2-inch hail. So we talk 2 inches, that's like tennis ball size. That's going to be for central Missouri, including Little Rock and the Shreveport area. St. Louis looks like you're on the edge of that. On Sunday, a little bit of severe weather, not a lot, just a little sliver here in areas of Georgia. Same areas actually had some severe storms yesterday back up to Augusta. Now let's kind of recap the incredible hot April conditions that we saw. Everywhere I have put a little blinking icon here is where we had record highs. New York City, by the way, was 91. First time, earliest in the year they've ever had a second 90-degree day in New York City Central Park. And that goes back 150 years. And the warmest spot, here's the stat of the day. The warmest spot in the entire country today, out of anywhere, the deserts of California, Death Valley, to Florida, anywhere, was in Windsor Locks, Connecticut, that hit 96 degrees. How incredible is that? So here's what we're going to look like as we go towards the extended forecast here. The cool air is going to be coming in. It will eventually push through. So as we go through tomorrow, instead of being as hot, it'll be 70s from Philadelphia, Detroit to areas like Virginia. And then by the time we get to early next week, everyone's kind of actually cool or chilly. Everyone's going to have to go back and get their, their winter clothes in some areas, with highs only in the 40s in areas like Detroit, Gadi. So, I mean, 96 in Connecticut in middle of April is unheard of.
I'm just sad you're not wearing shorts, Bill.
Yeah. Earlier I was.
Bill, thanks so much. And after the break, Netflix, Spotify, Peacock. Think of all the subscriptions we pay for each month, but you would be very surprised to realize that you are paying for some of those without even knowing it. That story's next, so stay tuned. And here are some of the other headlines we're watching tonight. The first funerals were held today for the 5 victims killed in Monday's mass shooting at a bank in Kentucky. Each of the victims killed were employees of the bank. And former President Donald Trump doesn't want his former vice president testifying in the January 6th investigation into the Capitol riot. So he's asking a federal appeals court to block Pence from doing so immediately. And if the court says no, Trump could appeal to the Supreme Court. And Minneapolis is the first American city to allow the Muslim call to prayer to be heard over loudspeakers 5 times a day. The city council unanimously agreed to amend the city's noise ordinance, which had prevented dawn and late evening calls at certain times of year due to noise restrictions. And volcanic ash continues to cause visibility issues for flights in Alaska. Several flights were canceled for the 3rd day in a row. That ash cloud is from a volcano in Russia that erupted earlier this week. Washington Commanders owner Daniel Snyder is reportedly close to a deal to sell the team for $6 billion. That would be a record for the most expensive sports team purchase in U.S. history. And the future of TikTok is looking pretty bleak in Montana. That's because today, Montana became the first state to pass a bill to block the popular app. Now, this bill makes it illegal for app stores to give users the option to download TikTok, and also illegal for the company to operate within the state. But the bill does not make it illegal for people who already have TikTok to use the app. The bill is now headed to the governor's office, who is expected to sign it. Also, the first image of a black hole is getting an AI makeover. Now, the image dates back to 2019. The black hole still looks like a fuzzy orange donut-shaped object, but now, thanks to AI, it has a skinnier ring and a darker center, which researchers think is much more accurate. So, like Facetune-ish, but for black holes, kind of. The new image is based on the same data gathered by a network of telescopes, except researchers used AI to learn and fill in the gaps. And here's a question for you. Do you know how much you are spending right now on subscriptions every month? For a lot of people, the answer is no idea, but I bet it's a lot. And senior consumer investigative correspondent Vicki Nguyen shows us how to be a smarter subscriber.
We all have that list of subscriptions we're paying for, from TV and music streaming to meal plans and fitness apps.
HBO Max and Netflix and Hulu, Spotify, I think gym memberships.
Charged automatically each month, whether we remember them or not. And as the Wall Street Journal recently reported, they add up. In a 2022 survey, respondents estimated they spent $86 a month on subscriptions. The actual average amount, $219. And it was far more for Lakeisha Mosley.
The pandemic really put us all financially in a tizzy. And so I was going through trying to establish a budget.
She found a plethora of forgotten subscriptions.
And I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm paying for this and I'm paying for that.
Including a recurring Class Pass membership that was costing her about $1,000 a year.
I can count on one hand the time I signed in, maybe once or twice.
Mosley added up over $700 a month in subscription charges. She ended up canceling more than half. Subscribers like her are saying enough is enough. Cancellations for Netflix, Hulu, HBO Max, and others rose about 50% in 2022 from the previous year.
Are subscriptions one of those easy things to forget about because they're automatic?
Absolutely. Your subscriptions are so often, they're small amounts, so sometimes we forget about them. $5, $6, $12 a month.
And a proposed rule from the Federal Trade Commission would crack down on companies, ordering them to make it as easy to cancel as it was to sign up.
They need to tell you how long the trial period goes for, clearly have to tell you by when you have to cancel.
The FTC plan is now up for public comment. Meanwhile, there are a variety of apps that can help you keep track of expenses and flag subscriptions you may have forgotten.
I realized I was paying for 2 Netflix accounts and 2 Spotify accounts.
Dustin Hensley used the app Rocket Money to identify duplicate payments and a mystery $300 annual charge that he got refunded.
What advice would you give to other consumers, having gone through your experience?
Pay attention. You get nickel and dimes. It's death by 1,000 cuts.
$200? I mean, duplicate accounts? That is wild. NBC's Vicky Nguyen, thanks so much for that report. I know what I'm going to be doing right after the show. Before we go, the big headlines to keep an eye out for next week. Plus, it all started with a comedian fainting on stage, and it turned into a COVID vaccine conspiracy. That wild story is next, so stay tuned. And just over a year ago, comedian Heather McDonald collapsed on stage during a stand-up show. Then a clip of that incident ended up in an anti-vax documentary called Died Suddenly. Now, that film has been viewed over 17 million times, and it makes a claim that the COVID vaccine is causing people to drop dead. The only problem is that many of the people featured, including Heather, are not dead. NBC's Ben Collins and Andrew Stern tracked her down to get some answers. Take a look.
The dead can't speak for themselves, so therefore, I have to speak for them.
But there's just one problem with that narrative. Many of those people aren't dead at all. Like this comedian Heather McDonald, who collapsed on stage.
She's dead on TikTok, but alive in real life. So I don't really know what to do with that other than to just try to get her on video.
Ben Collins, who covers conspiracy theories and extremism, tracked her down out in Los Angeles, so we hopped a flight to meet her in person.
Died Suddenly is created by this guy named Stu Peters, very famous anti-vaxxer. And he is trying to say that the vaccine is killing you. But he's using a lot of footage of very living people who had medical events that had nothing to do with the vaccine to try to prove his point. Heather is one of them. The sheer force of will of anti-vaxxers to get this message out that these people are dying everywhere made it so on the internet, if you look her up, you probably think she's dead. How's it going? I'm Ben.
Hi.
Good to meet you. Thank you for doing this. You're a living person. You are not somebody who cannot speak for themselves, right?
No, I'm a living person, and nobody has ever contacted me to interview me about it, even though they've put it on their platforms, ever.
So they just talk about you in the abstract, and then you're like, actually, wait a second, I'm alive. And then they're like, never mind, don't.
Yeah, I'm alive and I'm fine. It's really bothered me. It's really pissed me off, and it's been really hurtful. And I've had to like block a lot of people that like literally troll me. Like, we'll go find some video that has nothing to do with this and just write like, oh, this is the vax tramp. How's that vax working for you? Why are you still alive? Like really mean stuff. I'm non-political and I get thrown into this thing just for doing my job and working, you know?
Yeah.
The first kind of major example of this happened back in 1982. It was a documentary focusing on the DPT vaccine.
The DPT shot can also damage to a devastating degree.
Doctors and medical groups called the doc dangerous and inaccurate. A more recent example of this was the Damar Hamlin collapse on Monday Night Football. Thousands of social media posts viewed by millions of people went out almost instantly, saying Hamlin's collapse was linked to the vaccine.
Like, anti-vaxxers are so committed to this reality where people are constantly dying and constantly having horrible things happen to them because of the vaccine, even though it's just not really happening. They're astute at knowing how to game algorithms, get to the top of search boxes, working in communities, and that's exactly how politicians come to believe this, or how politicians get bombarded with this stuff.
You're seeing that happen right now in Idaho. A state legislator there introduced a bill to make it a misdemeanor to give anyone a vaccine developed with mRNA technology.
In the state of Idaho, a person may not provide or administer a vaccine developed using messenger ribonucleic acid technology for the use in an individual or any other mammal in this state.
That legislator, a fan of Died Suddenly.
It's a very well-funded operation. So if you're just one person who is a target of this stuff, you really don't have a chance. There's no way to stop it.
And thanks to Ben and Andrew for that report. And to see more of this story, you can head over to Stay Tuned at YouTube's. Their channel there is at Stay Tuned NBC. And time now for some of the big stories to watch next week. The highly anticipated trial between Dominion Voting Systems and Fox News kicks off on Monday. Dominion is suing the network for defamation. Plus, Senate Minority Leader Mitch McConnell is heading back to the Senate after recovering from a fall about a month ago. And get ready, set, and go. It's almost Marathon Monday in Boston. Runners are doing their final preps as the city remembers 10 years since the bombings. And that does it for us tonight. I'm Gadi Schwartz. We'll see you here on Monday, but until then, stay tuned now.
Thanks for watching our YouTube channel. Follow today's top stories and breaking news by downloading the NBC News app.